Hey guys, it's Steven from Fratelli. Today we're talking about watches. I'm going to be doing a state of the collection review of my personal collection, which is not a large collection. It's only 5 pieces at the time. Right now we're at the end of 2019. So in terms of collecting, it's something that I plan to grow and evolve really to the end of my life. So definitely going to be a long-term process and something that I'm really passionate about and really excited about continuing. So I'm not going to go too crazy into each individual watch. Most of them I have individual reviews for them, so I have a little bit more detail on that, but really just wanted to take you guys through my collection, get your feedback on it, and also just kind of give you some thoughts on collecting in general and just kind of my approach to it and all that good stuff. So I'm going to start with the one on my wrist. So this is a Rolex Explorer 2. This is not the newest version of the watch. This one is from circa 1994, 1995. At the time, I was really interested in purchasing a Omega Speedmaster Moonwatch. Really awesome, super cool watch with a ton of history. I was getting very close to pulling the trigger on that, but just being really into watches, I'm always popping into watch stores and came across this guy, certified pre-owned. It actually still had the green sticker on the back of it from 94, 95, and it was just really in flawless condition. So I was like, I gotta get this. And I bought this instead of the Speedmaster at the time. The watch has appreciated a bit in value since I bought it, which is cool, but it really doesn't matter because I have no intentions of selling it. Even the newer Explorer, with a little bit larger size, or Explorer 2 rather, with a bit larger size, this one just fits me really well. And it's not really like a vintage watch, but it is a bit older, so it just kind of has that size to it, which is really cool. Also, the outside of the watch has the steel bezel with the 24-hour marker. So a thing like a Daytona with even the steel ones are just so out of my price range, so it could have that kind of look in a Rolex, which is cool. It's also the first watch that kind of has more of like a complication to it in my collection, so that was an important step for me. So the Explorer 2 has a second hour hand that runs on 24-hour time. It's not really like a true GMT because you can't turn the bezel, but you can set it for a different time zone if you want, which is cool. So again, just kind of as I started getting more into watches, learning more about them, the different types of movements and functions and the versatility of them, the Explorer 2 was really for exploring. So you had the 24-hour time, so if you're in a cave and you can't see outside, you can know if it's AM or PM, which is kind of neat. But yeah, just really love this watch. Again, no intentions of ever getting rid of it. Just really like it and couldn't be happier with it. So up next is the watch that really kind of started this whole thing for me. So this is a TAG Heuer Aquaracer, and I got this in my mid to late 20s. I'm 35 now, just for reference. And just wanted a nice watch to wear at work and etc. Just had an office job, etc. Just again, just wanted a nice watch. So I started doing research on stuff, and I was just kind of like with some of the prices, on a Rolex, Omega. I mean, forget about like Patek and AP and all that stuff. Everything just seemed nuts, right? So even this at the time, I forget exactly, the retail was like $1,500, $1,700, which also seemed nuts to me. So the watch was also important because it was the first one that really got me over that moment of spending real money on a watch. And also, to the same effect, a watch that cost some money that I was comfortable wearing. One of the reasons I got this is because it was a dive watch, which, from doing research and starting to learn a little about watches, I knew not that much. The dive watches are super durable. They're water resistant. So you don't have to worry about them getting wet and getting broken. Hard crystals, and just you can bang them around. They kind of look cool if they have a few scratches on them, and that was a big factor of purchasing it. I definitely wanted something that was an automatic movement. Sapphire crystal. This checked a lot of boxes. Design-wise, it's very similar to a Rolex Submariner. Obviously, it's not the same pedigree or price. You could say it's a bit of a cheaper knockoff version, but I'm okay with that. Just really cool watch. It came on a oyster-style bracelet, again, very similar to a Rolex. And I actually swapped this out down the line with the NATO strap because I have another steel watch as well and wanted this to get wrist time. And I highly recommend having one watch on a NATO strap, because it just makes the watch a lot lighter and more comfortable to wear. Days you don't want something really heavy on your wrist. Also, you could change them out really easily. So if you just want to have fun with it, change the colors. It's like you kind of have a new watch, which is really cool. I mean, I have one that's red, white, and blue. I mean, I think I wear it once a year on 4th of July. And it costs like $6 on Amazon. But again, you can kind of have fun with it if you want, which is cool. First watch that really got me into it. It's not going anywhere. Definitely staying in the collection, and just really still get a lot of enjoyment out of it to this day. Up next was something a bit more expensive. After I bought the Tag, I was really comfortable with wearing a nicer watch, and was ready for kind of the next step. And I got this Breitling Galactic 41. This has a really cool gray dial to it, really solid steel case. Steel case and bracelet. The whole thing is polished, so it's definitely a little bit on the blingier side, but it's still a very sporty watch, and really nice and fun. And I got a ton of compliments on it. For a while, it was just these two in the collection, so this got a ton of wrist time, and really enjoyed it. I may be parting with it. If I do get top dollar for it, I may part with it. And reason being is I've had it for about 5 years, and I've just learned so much more about watches. There's so many that I want, and also I had it for 5 years, and sometimes you just want something new. So we'll see if this one lasts or not. Up next is actually another Breitling. Another reason why I potentially might sell the Galactic is because I have 2 Breitlings. But this watch I just absolutely adore. It's the Super Ocean 42. It's not the newest version. It's like maybe 2 or 3 versions ago now. And I just love the way this watch looks. They came with different color inserts. I got the yellow because I had a couple other watches. I was fine with having something that had a little bit more pop to it. Something to consider if you're just buying your first watch. You might want to get something that just has like a white or a black or a gray dial, because it kind of goes with everything and you can wear it with everything. But I was, this didn't need to be my everyday watch, so I was totally cool with getting the yellow, which I thought was a lot of fun. Also, when I bought this watch, this is when I first started to really learn more about watches, and really just not just knowing brands and stuff, but being more knowledgeable about the movements and the functions of them and all that stuff. And this watch doesn't have like the luminous marker at the top like a true dive watch would do for your time indicator while you're underwater. But at the same time, it has like a helium escape valve, which is like a high-end feature for a dive watch, and it has like a crazy depth rating. Let's see, 1,500 meters. Yeah, like I swim like 10 feet at the most. But I knew that with the watch, and the newer one, they actually corrected it and put the luminous marker at the top, but I just love the way this watch looks, and I didn't care. I think the point there is that, you should really buy a watch that you like the way it looks and you're gonna wear it. I mean, you are wearing these things, right? So don't get too caught up in like the technical stuff. You have to wear it and you have to enjoy it. The other thing I just really love about this watch is the rubber strap. Makes it definitely, it's still an expensive watch. I forget exactly how much it costs. I think it was around like $3,500 retail or something. But the rubber strap definitely tones it down a bit and makes it more casual, which is really cool. And it's really comfortable in the summer in the heat. And also it has a adjustable buckle and clasp to the bracelet. And the point too, so it's really secure. So really great bracelet on this. On a hot summer day, it is really nice to be able to let the watch out a little bit when your wrist is expanding in the heat. Same could be said about the NATO strap, because it's like a tang style with the different holes, right? So something to consider too if you're going to be wearing the watch in the summer a lot. Last but by far not least is just my GShock. This is a big red one. I probably shouldn't have worn a red shirt. It might show up. That was bad planning. But just this watch I've had probably for like a decade, and I've worn skiing, hiking, swimming, playing tennis, and it's like looks as new as when I got it. These things are super durable. Yes, it's a plastic watch with the quartz movement. It's in a different class of these type of watches. You can't really compare it to buying a Rolex Explorer 2 like this one. But yeah, you could really bang these things around. It lights up, which is just fun and cool. It has a light in it. I didn't do a review on this watch because frankly, it has a ton of features and I don't really know how to use them. I never went through like the book and stuff, so it would be a terrible review. But what I do use a lot is just the stopwatch on this. None of my watches are chronographs, but this has, digital stopwatch, which is really useful to have in certain things. Like, for example, when we play tennis, the courts here are like on an honor system where you're supposed to be on for an hour. So when you start the timer, someone goes, "Well, I've been on 52 minutes, be off in 8, okay." And or if you're cooking and just need a separate timer, and you got, crap all over your hands, you don't want to be grabbing your phone or whatever. Again, you can get these things dirty. They're the GShock. You could shock them, you could bang them around. Highly recommend it. They come in a ton of different colors and variations, so total preference there. Again, we'll buy something that you think looks cool and you'd want to wear and fits your wrist. The only other thing I would say too, just about collecting in general, is just think about where you're going to be wearing the watch. If you want to if it's your first watch, the reason I got this, on the steel bracelet, you can kind of wear it everywhere, whereas like if something on like a leather strap, you're not going to want to like really dive into a pool with it and stuff like that. If you're wearing a 3-piece suit every day to work, you might want something that's a little bit more formal for business settings and stuff. Like my watches are all kind of more on the sporty and tool side. But just give some thought about where you're going to be wearing the watch, and also how that plays in your collection, because again, if you're going to be dressed up half the time and hiking the other half of the time, you might want just like a G-Shock and a really nice dress watch to wear, and then maybe a dive watch or something that could kind of bang around in between. But give some thought to it, do your research, try things on in person. That's another thing I would just say is, some watches look really great on the internet or just Instagram and stuff, but everybody's wrist's a different shape. And then, also like the dials, like this thing, picks up so many different colors of light. Like my girlfriend actually refers to it as like my blue watch, even though it's gray. So there's things that you really can't see until you see them in person. Just the finish and the feel of the watch, definitely try them on, and take your time is another thing I would say. So, be knowledgeable of the watches you want. Don't be too impulsive. Like I was impulsive on this, but I knew what it was before I got it. I was like, oh yeah, I know I like the Explorer. I know the new one is Explorer 2, sorry. I know I really like the Explorer 2. I really like the white dial. I know the newer one's a little too big for me, so this is like perfect. So yes, it was impulsive, but I also knew a lot about the watch before I got it and knew what I wasn't getting, which was the Omega Speedmaster. So I think that's a good segue into probably my next watch will be the Omega Speedmaster. Again, I thought that was going to be the watch I was going to buy when I got this. There's just so many great watches out there around that price range, which makes it tough. That's also why this one is potentially, going to get sold. Again, great watch, but there's just so much out there, and just again, get what you like. Thanks guys, please comment, subscribe, tell me what you think. I'm very new to this, so open to feedback, good or bad, and really appreciate you watching. Thank you, bye.